Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cape Henry Collegiate. We're here today for a senior varsity, or I should say just a varsity girls softball game between the Cape Henry Collegiate Dolphins and the Peninsula Catholic Knights. It's Thursday. It's overcast with a little bit of a breeze blowing, and the wind is blowing from right field to left field. I'm Chris Souther. I'm joined by Scott McGraw. And today we are going to be seeing an important game for the Dolphins. If they win today, they move up a seed in the TCIS playoffs, and they will host the first TCIS playoff game next week. So we're excited to be here and to see the Lady Dolphins take on the Lady Knights, Peninsula Catholic High School. The umpires are discussing the ground rules with the coaches right now. So while we're waiting, I'll give you the lineups. For the Lady Knights, their starting lineup will be number 15, Abby Lazuski, number 2, playing second. Number 2, Scarlett Paintner, who's our shortstop. Number 3, Quinn Freaky, the pitcher. Number 18, Gracie Simmons, catching. Number 10, Logan Kaufman. She's going to be the DH. Number 17, Maggie Ford, is the third baseman. Number 20, Casey Williams, is the first baseman. Number 16, Sam Doherty, is the left fielder. Center fielder. And number 21, Megan Schulte, is the left fielder. And then the flex player is number 19, Hannah Banks. On the other side of the diamond, the Lady Dolphins will start number 9, Ryan Robinson, she's catching. Number 3, Sydney Larkin, who's pitching. Number 1, Marshall Daniel, she's in center. Number 8, Peyton Davalda is at short. Number 6, Sydney Murphy in left field. Number 2, Sophie Berger at first. Number 5, Malin Johnson at third. Number 4, Mary Burke at in right field. And number 14, Kate Dixon at second. So we're looking for a good outing here for the Dolphins. The Dolphins, I believe, are 9-4. And as I said, this win will put them in the upper bracket. Occasionally, you're going to hear a loud boom go over our heads. And that is F-18s. As I said, those are the F-18 Hornets from Oceana, the Naval Air Base, which is just down the road from us. And apparently today they decided to put their flight pattern over our school. So we might have a break every few minutes to let the sound of freedom go by. So anyway, like I said, I'm joined also up here in the booth with our 2 students that are helping today, Wyatt and a newbie, Mr.
Noah Ziegler.
And Mr. Noah Ziegler, this is his first time, so he's a rookie. He's working the scoreboard. Wyatt will be working the camera. So the camera should be solid as a rock, and the scoreboard could literally say anything at any time during this game.
Noah's better known for his better known for his musical skills, but he's going to try to translate that over to working the scoreboard today. So We'll see.
Noah, what math are you taking right now? Calculus. Well, we should at least get balls and strikes correctly.
Okay, well, you don't want the statistics on any of these. I can't do that, even though I'm in AP.
All right. So, Scott, what are we looking for today from the Lady Dolphins?
We got another jet flying overhead,
we'll
Chris. So this could be an interesting commentating experience. So, Chris, I believe you mentioned to me before the game this is the Dolphins' best season since I think you said 2017. There's a ground ball right back to the pitcher on the first pitch. One up, one down.
Pitcher Sidney Larkin.
1-3 for those of you scoring at home, along with Chris Souther.
1-3 it is. First out in the books. Sydney's been the pitcher all year. She's a junior. Her dad is the assistant coach. There's a second pitch, ground ball to Malin Johnson. Malin throws over to Sophie Berger. 2 pitches, 2 outs. You'd like to see that.
You can't do better than that. And Chris, I believe these two teams played earlier in the year, and I think it was a comfortable win for the Dolphins. I think I'm right about that.
It was. That brings up the pitcher on the other team, Quinn Freakley, number 3. There's a call. Well, don't think that's a call strike. Might have just been a sign that the ball was high. We haven't really seen the umpire make any balls or strikes calls yet because 2 pitches, two swings. So it's recorded as a ball, and there's ball 2 outside. Dolphins' right side of their infield are the seniors, Sophie Berger and Kate Dixon. And there's a fly ball out to right. And that gets past Mary Burke. She gets the ball in, so Freakley is on base with a base hit, double. She was running with 2 outs, so we'll give her a double. So first base runner.
There goes the no-hitter, Chris.
At this level in softball, that is a rarity. In the college level, happens actually quite often. There's a nice pitch. So there's the first strike call. So Larkin comes in with a nice pitch on the outside corner. Against Sydney and Robinson have been the pitcher-catcher combination all season. There's another nice fly ball, but just foul on the right side. Peyton DeValda went out to grab it. Sydney Murphy, the right fielder, went in, but ball fell just foul on the outside of the foul line. 1 ball, 1 strike. Or excuse me, 2 strikes. There's a ground ball to Malin Johnson. She goes to tag and misses. So Nick Malin forgot there was 2 outs. Has already made a play to first base. So we're going to give Gracie Simmons a fielder's choice without the out being committed.
Yeah, I think if Malin throws it to first there, she gets the out, but she went for the tag and just missed.
There's a strike called, and Simmons goes down to second base on a steal. So we'll call that an E5. Simmons. There's a little ground ball. Malin makes the play this time and just gets her out at first base. Nice play. So Malin charged the ball, got the ball out of her glove in a hurry, threw it over to Berger, and just got Kaufman, the designated hitter, out. So
nice play by Malin.
Was a nice play. So the Lady Knights leave 2 on the bases. They get 1 hit and 1 error. And that brings the Lady Dolphins up to bat. So just to give you the lineup again for the Lady Dolphins, Ryan Robertson, the catcher, will lead off. Sidney Larkin, the pitcher, will bat second. Marshall Daniel, the center fielder, will bat third. And the cleanup hitter today is the shortstop, Peyton Davalda.
Chris, this is the last regular season game for the Dolphins. I believe they'll start TCIS tournament play next week, and the last poll I saw had them at number 9 in the state for Division II, which I think if they keep that ranking, they'll be involved in the state playoffs as well the week after that.
And well deserved. They've played very well this year. We did their senior night game last week, and they played well. They had a couple of defensive lapses against Norfolk Academy. A couple of innings they threw the ball around, but for the most part they're very solid. Their infield is pretty solid, and they sure can hit. I can't remember what they're putting up per game, but I know it's close to 10 runs a game. So we know the Lady Dolphins can get on base and they can score. And as I mentioned, Sydney Larkin has done a great job. She does not walk very many batters, and so she's done a great job of keeping the Dolphins in the game by throwing strikes and not putting free people on base. And so we'll see how that fares today. As I mentioned, Sydney's dad, Coach Larkin, is the assistant coach, and the head coach for the Dolphins is Miss Stone. All right, so here we go. Bottom half of the first, no score. Robertson is to bat, and
wow, that one almost hit the ump.
Quinn Freakley, the pitcher for the Knights, throws hard apparently, and she airmails one up and in that all three, catcher, batter, and umpire, had to get out of the way of. There's another ball that's high. Ball 3 high. So she's thrown hard, but she's missing up. So 3 balls, no strikes. There's the first strike. Looked a little low, but got the call. So first strike there. Three balls, 1 strike. First batter for the Dolphins, Robertson, the catcher. No score. She takes ball 4 low. Sydney Larkin, the pitcher for the Dolphins, is up next.
As you said, Chris, at this level, it's such a bonus to have a pitcher who throws strikes. You don't want to give the other team anything by walking them. There goes Ryan down to second on the wild pitch. Thinks about heading to third. Oof.
So,
wow.
Yeah, taking her time going back to second, and the pitcher threw the ball, and that was a lot closer than it needed to be. But I think with this pitcher, she's probably going to miss a lot, and Dolphins might have a good opportunity to run. If the ball gets past the catcher. It's not a deep backstop here at Cape Henry, but it's deep enough, and there's grass back there that will slow the ball down. So anything past the catcher should give the Dolphins a chance to move. There's a nice pitch there. So 1 ball, 2 strikes on Larkin, second batter of the inning. Robinson on second. Sydney strikes out swinging. And they do throw the ball away, and that gives Robinson a chance to go to third. And now she's going to try to go home, and she's going to make it. So the strategy, I guess, all along was to get them to throw the ball and have the ball go into the outfield. And once it did, she took off running. So the Dolphins, on their first out of the inning, a strikeout, score a run.
Well, I wondered what Ryan was doing down there. Now it makes a lot more sense. Once she drew the throw, she came all the way around from second to score.
Marshall Daniel, the center fielder, is up now. She's a number 3 hitter. She squares to bunt and lays down a beauty that the third baseman picks up, but she won't have a chance to get Marshall. That was a beautiful, gorgeous bunt. Textbook. Had the bat, let the ball come to the bat, deadened the ball right down the third base line, got about halfway there, and Marshall is on first. Cleanup hitter Peyton Devalda up with 1 out and 1 run in at the bottom of the first inning for the Dolphins. There's a ball low, and Marshall takes off with the pitch, and she's at second base. So
It's a low strike zone today, Chris.
I was just going to say, from our vantage point here in center field, the home plate umpire seems to have a low strike zone. And again, if he's consistent with both teams, that's all you can ask for. That's a swinging straight strike by Peyton. And so now Marshall steals third. So another runner in scoring position for the Dolphins. They've already got 1 run home with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. And she does strike out on a nice, somewhat of an off-speed pitch, considering how quick she's throwing. So 2 strikeouts, and that brings up the left fielder, number 6, Sydney Murphy. Sydney's just a freshman. And she hits a line shot up. Center fielder's under it, and ball goes in and out of her glove. She gets the ball in, but she had good position. She was there. Ball popped in and out of her glove. So that'll be an E8. But Sydney's aboard, and that brings up the senior first baseman, Sophie Berger. And we'll see if they have Sydney running here. There's a beautiful pitch strike, and Sydney is running, and no throw from the catcher. So Sydney steals second. Berger has 1 strike on her with 2 outs. And Sophie lines the ball, but foul over the visitors' dugout for strike 2. That ball straight up and foul. So the ball landed just behind home plate in front of the catcher, who did not make the play for a foul ball. So that's something you just never see.
No, you don't.
A fly ball landing in front of the catcher, but behind the plate and landing there. And there's a line shot.
Nice shot.
Right. Nice hit there. And Sophie's going to go to third. That's going to score Murphy easy. And Berger's going all the way to third. And that ball was hit hard. So Sophie gets a fastball on the outside part of the plate, and she lines it to right field for a triple and scores Murphy for the second run of the game. So that brings up the third baseman, Malin Johnson, with a runner already at third and 3 runs in the inning. And Malin swings and misses strike 1. That ball's just outside, ball 1. Might hear some cheering going on here at Cape Henry. We've got a boys lacrosse game, a boys baseball game, a girls softball game. And Malin swings and misses on that. I think Malin's got a little bit of happy feet. She swings. And there's a ball grounded right back to the pitcher. She throws over to first for the third out of the inning. So 1-3 there. But the Dolphins do come up with 3 runs in their half of the inning.
Malin hit that hard, but a nice play there by the pitcher to throw her out.
So after one, the Lady Dolphins lead the Lady Knights 3-0.
Couple games going on today between Cape Henry and Peninsula Catholic. We've got boys lacrosse, baseball, and softball all going on at the same time here at Cape Henry.
All right, so here we go. Top of the second, third baseman, number 17, Maggie Ford will lead off. Casey Williams is in the hole, and Sam Doherty, or Casey Williams is on deck, and Sam Doherty, the center fielder's in the hole. So here we go, Larkin's first pitch, and that's right down the middle, strike one. Foul tip, strike two. That ball went off of Robertson behind home plate. And there's a swinging strike for three. So Larkin strikes out her first batter. That brings up the first baseman, number 20, Casey Williams. She takes a strike on the outside corner, strike one. So Larkin looks to be pretty efficient so far in this game, throwing strikes, getting good defense behind her with a 3-run lead. There's a second strike. And there's a ground ball right back to Larkin. She feels it and throws over to Berger for the second out of the game, or the inning. So you'll notice Sydney, when she pitches, most softball pitchers, and Freakley on the other side does this, go more of a sideways K. Sydney kind of has more of a forward motion, which is great for throwing strikes. Does not really throw hard, and so you'll see a little bit of difference between the two pitchers. One pitcher goes more of that sideways K and gets a little more of her lower body into the pitch, and Sydney has more of a forward approach where she's not going to be as fast, but she'll certainly be accurate, like right there. Doherty's the center fielder. She dropped that fly ball in the last inning that allowed a couple of runs to score. And there's a beautiful pitch right down the middle for strike three. So
nice inning, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Here come the Dolphins.
Now, those of you that watch high school softball know that some of these games can take a while.
Yes.
Generous with a while. Lots of runs, lots of walks, lots of movement, and but this game is pretty efficient so far. So, and the sun has come out, the wind has died down. It's actually turned into a very nice afternoon here at Cape Henry Collegiate in the 757.
So, Chris, you and I watched a game earlier this season that I think finished 23-23.
That is
after
correct.
7 innings. I think it was a 3-hour game. only to end in a tie. They couldn't complete it because of darkness. But you're right, this one is moving along at a much brisker pace. So far.
So far, we probably just jinxed it. Up for the Dolphins, the right fielder, Mary Burke, the 8-hitter, followed by Kate Dixon, the 9-hitter, the second baseman, and then we go back to the top of the order with Robertson, the catcher, up third, and that'll put the pitcher Sidney Larkin as a cleanup hitter this inning. So already 3 runs in the bank for the Dolphins. Bottom of the second, and Burke is standing there showing bunt already, and she does. She pulls the butt back just a little bit and fouls it off for strike 1. And she squares around and shows bunt again. And this time she pulls back for a ball high. Third baseman creeps up. She does attempt, misses for strike 2. Unusual, the second baseman is cheating and the first baseman staying back. Normally you would see the corners come in and the middle infielders play. But on that last bunt attempt, the second baseman, number 15, she ran in towards the plate and the first baseman stayed. So a little different variation on bunt defense.
Well, she finally swung away that time after 3 or 4 bunt attempts. We'll see what the defense does here.
Fouls it back again. So a little behind on the pitch, and it's fouled the last 2 back into the right side of the field, behind the visitors' dugout. So Mary's sitting with a 1-2 count and takes the ball high, ball 2. He does ground it, but foul on the left side this time. Not sure if Freakley took something off that pitch, trying to get Burke to swing a little ahead, trying to time those fastballs. But Mary got around on it, but fouled it off down the third base side. And there's a pitch that slipped out of her hand for 3 balls and 2 strikes. So Burke being down 0-2 now has it worked back to full count.
Nice at bat.
And winds up getting a walk. So leadoff walk for the Dolphins. Nice job of staying in there by Burke. That brings up the second baseman, Kate Dixon, senior. We'll see what Burke does at first base. And she doesn't go, takes it.
They've been running so far today. A little surprised Burke didn't take off there.
There's a ground ball on the right side. I think I said Dixon is a senior. She's actually a junior. So Kate's got another year here at Cape Henry and hopefully on the softball field. There's a strike, and this time Burke does go to second base and stands in with a steal.
And Chris, as we said, they've had a good season, the Dolphins, and most of these players are pretty young. I think most of them are going to be back next year on the diamond as well.
That ball almost hit her in the head and instead gets by the catcher, so Burke will trot down to third on a pass ball. We'll call that a wild pitch, actually. That ball was pretty high and outside. And the again over the head, and this time Burke's going to go home, and she does, and just beats the throw. Did not slide, so she scores without a hit being made, and I think the coach is going to come out and ask if that wasn't an out.
What happened to Kate?
I think they're calling Dixon out on a strikeout. Although I don't think she had 2 strikes on her.
Kate was called out for some reason. I'm not sure why, but Ryan's up now, Ryan Robertson, and she's got a 2-0 count. So I'm not sure what the confusion is.
Well, the run is on the board, so the Dolphins come back with a run. Possibly interference, but I would think if that's interference, they put the runner back at third. They don't allow the run to score, so maybe we just miscounted. I did not have 2 strikes on her, and that pitch was not a strike anyway. That was a ball. It was over the head, and they're allowed.
It's 3-1.
Third.
Yeah.
So not quite sure what happened there. So we'll put a question mark next to Kate, but that is the first out of the inning. And so Robertson is up now. She's got a that ball is low and outside, so she takes a base. So Robinson works a walk. She's on first, and that brings up Sydney Larkin, the pitcher. Sydney struck out her first time at bat. Takes ball outside, and this time Robinson is called out for leaving early. So Robinson is called out for leaving early. And that's the second out of the inning, and the Dolphins haven't made an out in this inning from the plate. They've made it on the base path and behind the plate. We're not quite sure why. We'll try to get that reason. There's Larkin swinging through his second pitch. Sydney grounds the ball to the second baseman, and it gets by her. So Sydney's on first base, safe. So there's a base hit for Sydney. So with 2 outs and 1 run in, Dolphins have a runner on first, and that brings up Marshall Daniel. Marshall singled her first time up, stole second, stole third, and scored on the error by the center fielder. And here's another long, high fly ball to the center fielder, and this time she does make the catch. So Marshall got under it just a little bit, hit the ball well, but just got into it a little bit. So that'll go as an F8 for the third out of the inning. So we'll try to figure out what happened with Dixon. And we'll be back after 2 innings. We've got the Lady Dolphins ahead 4-0. Marshall, why was Kate out? Kate Dixon.
Kate.
What?
I guess we just count the strikes on. Go ahead.
At home. Okay. The pitch she struck out on was the pitch that she scored. That was over her head. It's behind behind the
I think that was Ryan. I think Ryan was on.
I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Ryan's hit, but I'm saying Kate's.
Burke scored.
Yeah.
Right. But I think Ryan was already at the plate when that wild pitch came.
Kate's hit was out.
She is not. Top of the third, left fielder Megan Schulte, number 21, will lead off for the Lady Knights. And Sid Larkin pitches and gets a strike called. Swing, foul back, strike two. And that's a swinging strike for strike three. So there's the first out of the third inning. As we mentioned, Larkin has a nice delivery. There's a ground ball to Malin at third, and she comes up and fires, but not in time. Berger makes the catch. And so Hannah Banks, the flex player, number 19, comes in, and we'll give her an infield hit there.
That ball was hit a little too slowly for Malin to make the play there.
There's a fly ball, and Sydney Larkin is under it, and she makes the play. And so, I'm sorry, I said Hannah Banks was out. She's the flex player, so she's not in. That was, base hit was by the second baseman, Abby. And that was Scarlett Painter flying out to the pitcher for the second out of the inning, and that brings up the opposite pitcher, Quinn Freakley, and she sends a ball out to center field, but Marshall Daniel is there for the third out. Dolphins are pretty solid up the middle with Robertson at catcher, Larkin at pitcher, and Marshall Daniel in center field. Three very good athletic softball players. And so pretty solid up the middle. Peyton DeValder at short's got a good arm. So where most balls go, Dolphins seem to have the right players at the right spot. That's probably one of the reasons why they hopefully will be hosting a TCIS game next week and have done so well this season. So here we go at the bottom of the third. Shortstop Peyton DeValder is up at bat. She struck out her last time up. Lady Dolphins are up 4-0 over the Lady Knights of Peninsula Catholic. And the pitch. And that's high and outside for ball one. Peyton swings through that one for strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike. That ball is outside, ball 2. So, Scott, if you see what I mean about the pitchers, you can tell this pitcher has much more of a twisting of the hips towards the third base side when she delivers.
And you're right, Sydney's pitches almost look like what they would call in baseball a changeup. Is the arm comes forward really quickly, but then the ball doesn't come out as quickly as you think. And that change of speed can be difficult.
There's a nice line shot by DeValdo, and she sends it right over the first baseman and just inside the foul line, and she's going for 3, and she'll get there standing up. So nice piece of hitting there by Peyton. She went with the pitch. It was a little outside, but certainly thrown hard, and she went with the pitch and lined it into right field just inside the foul line for a beautiful triple. So Dolphins have their first runner on base, and that brings up Sydney Murphy. And Murphy reached on.
Uh-oh. A little too aggressive there.
Yeah. So DeValdo, the ball really didn't get too far past the catcher, and she broke and then actually hesitated. And by the time she got to home plate, Quinn, the pitcher on the other team, was standing there with the ball waiting. So missed opportunity there by the Dolphins.
Maybe you try that with 2 outs, but with nobody out, I think you want to be a little more conservative.
Yeah, and especially with Murphy up, who makes contact, and she drives the ball past the right fielder there. And Sydney's going to go to third, just like Peyton did on a stand-up triple. So Lady Dolphins gave away a run there by being a little aggressive with no outs here in the third. And Murphy comes up, and she triples. So Sydney's been up twice and is on base twice. And that brings up first baseman Sophie Berger with a runner on third and 1 out. And Sophie swings through that high fastball. Ball low, and that's in the dirt, and Sydney starts to go, but she doesn't. And probably a wise decision.
Good call.
One ball, 1 strike to Berger. And Sophie fouls that one back for strike 2. Gracie Simmons is the catcher for the Lady Knights and has done a nice job when the ball has gotten by her to get back there, get the ball, and shuffle it back to the pitcher, who's done a nice job of covering home plate. So Berger's worked the count to 2-2. Murphy standing at third. 1 out here in the bottom of the third. Dolphins up 4-0. Sophie almost went for that pitch, but she held back just in time. And there's a ball on the a pitch on the outside corner for strike 3. So Berger strikes out. Looking.
Yeah, you're right.
So with Murphy still standing on third, it brings up Malin Johnson, the third baseman. And Malin grounds the ball to the second baseman. She feels it and flips it over to the first baseman for the third out of the inning. So Dolphins kind of ran themselves out of that one with a leadoff triple that ended with a call out at home. Murphy stranded on third after a looking third strike and a ground out 4-3. So after 3, the Lady Dolphins are ahead 4-0 over the Lady Knights. Else going around, so the men's Dolphin baseball team is leading 3-0 over Peninsula Catholic over on that side. And can't quite see the score of the lacrosse game, but we'll see if we can get that for you. And the score of the lacrosse game is 5-1 with a little more than 4 minutes to go in the first. Men's Dolphin lacrosse team having a little bit of a rough season, but they put together a couple of good games, and they're leading today 5-1 in the first. All right, so we're back here at the softball diamond, and Larkin's first pitch is a ball high, and that's to the catcher, Gracie Simmons. Gracie got on an error by the third baseman her first time at bat, and she takes a beautiful pitch down the middle for strike one. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. And that hits the batter, but the umpire, I think, is going to call her back. Oh, he's saying it hit the bat. No, he's saying it did hit her arm. She didn't really move out of the way at all.
Nope.
And that actually is rarely called in the girls' game for whatever reason. But Gracie Simmons is on board with a hit by pitch, and so first batter on. There's a ground ball, but that's foul off the third base side, and that would be Logan Kaufman, number 10. She's the flex hitter, or the DH. And she swings through that pitch for strike 2. Robinson's got a good arm back there behind the plate. And as we have already mentioned, good defense behind her. DeValder, the shortstop, is covering. And so if Simmons does decide to go, it should be on a ball past Robertson at catcher. And there's a ball outside. The umpire actually called it low, which might be the first low ball he's called today. But it was a little outside as well. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. And there's a pitch right down the middle for strike 3. So Kaufman strikes out looking. She grounded out to the third baseman Johnson last time up. And that brings up Maggie Ford, the third baseman, and she struck out swinging her first time up.
Perfect pitch right down the middle there by Larkin. Surprised she didn't take a swing.
Another nice pitch by Sydney for a swinging strike on Ford. Another beautiful pitch, strike 2. And as we mentioned, Larkin does not walk many people. She's hit a batter in this inning, which is also unusual for her. There's a flare over the right, over to the right side, and that goes over the first baseman and past Burke and right. And so she gets the ball in, throws it a little wild to second, but all runners are held. So that's going to go down as a double for Ford. It moves Simmons all the way over to third, and with 1 out, the Lady Knights have runners at second and third. And they had runners at second and third in the first inning, but could not score, and that brings up Casey Williams. Casey grounded out to the pitcher her last time at bat. I think the Dolphins would like to see a lazy fly ball somewhere in the infield to keep the runners at bay.
Strikeout would work too.
There's strike one. That's low, and a nice play there by Robertson to keep the ball in front of her. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swinging through that one for strike 2. Lady Knights have struck out 4 times already in this game. There's a flare ball, foul ball back behind the plate. So we still have 1 ball, 2 strikes on Williams, the first baseman. Ford's at second, Simmons at third. 4-0 Lady Dolphins over the Knights. And there's a nice off-speed pitch to the outside corner, and she gets her swinging. So just like you said, Scott, strikeout worked out well there. So with 2 outs, 2 on, Lady Dolphins just have to get the 3rd out. So play would be to first base. And that brings up Doherty, the center fielder, and she takes strike 1. Sam Doherty struck out looking her first time up. And fouls that one. Just got a piece of it. Fouls it back, strike 2. And swings through that for strike 3.
Nice job pitching out of trouble there by Sydney Larkin.
Very nice job there.
The shutout is intact, but the Dolphins could use a few runs here in the bottom of the 4th.
So just like in the first inning, the Lady Knights strand 2 runners, both at second and third, without getting a run. And as you said, if the Dolphins can tack on a crooked number here, could definitely make the game less interesting for the Knights, and good news for the Dolphins going into the TCAS playoffs next week. Mary Burke, the right fielder, is going to lead off. She walked her first time up. Kate Dixon will follow. She struck out her first time up. And then that'll bring us back to the top of the order. And that would be Robertson, and she walked her last 2 times up at bat.
So, Chris, you know the softball rules better than I do. Robertson was called out earlier for leaving first too early after a pitch. I would have assumed that's something that you had to challenge, but apparently not. The umpire saw her leave early and immediately called her out before she even got down to second.
That's correct. And it's a difficult one to challenge because the home plate umpire is obviously looking at the pitcher and waiting for the ball to come. So it's really tough for the home plate umpire to actually see if someone has left early or not. Certainly on a fly ball, when the runner is tagging, it's a lot easier. But as a home plate umpire, when the ball is coming at you, it's really just up to the field umpire.
And I would have, by challenge I meant I would have thought Pencath would have had to throw the ball over to first.
Oh, I gotcha.
Like in the major leagues, if somebody leaves too early on a fly ball.
Correct. That is not the case. In ladies softball, if you leave the base early before the pitcher has released the ball out of her hand, the field umpire has the right to call her out immediately. So we have some of the coaches kind of discussing something behind home plate with the home plate umpire. All right, so the Lady Knights coach has positioned her second baseman to play pretty much right behind or next to second base. So we'll see what that defensive situation looks like. But Mary Burke is up, and she's the right fielder, and she squares to bunt as she did the first time up, and she takes ball one. She does bunt this time, but it's foul for the first strike. Getting back to that point, you'll notice at first base there are two bags there, an orange bag and a white bag. The orange bag, the runner must touch as she is entering from home plate. So on a hit, she must go to the orange bag. But once she has established her position on first base, she has the opportunity to lead off from the white bag. And that's a safety issue. And we know even the major leagues now have increased the bag size to help with safety issues. So it's drifted all the way up to the major leagues. And Burke just lines the ball right up the middle. After two somewhat feeble bunt attempts, she swings away and drives the ball, and the second baseman was actually placed perfectly, but Burke put it over her head for a swinging strike.
She faked everybody out.
Yeah. So Burke is up at first, and that brings up Kate Dixon. Kate struck out her first time, and she does a bunt, and she lays it down, but it just goes foul. So Kate bunted the ball, and it landed in fair territory, but the pitcher Freakley was smart enough to see the English on the ball and let it roll foul, and it did for strike one. So the Dolphins have their leadoff man on first. Their 9-hitter up to bat, and she swings and she grounds one to the pitcher, who makes a beautiful, gorgeous play. And so the pitcher, Quinn Freakley, goes to her knees, gets the ball, and from her backside throws a strike to first base for the out. That does move Burke over to second. So tough play there, Dixon, on that 1-3, but did move the runner over, and that brings the top of the lineup up, Robertson. And so the lefty is coming up for her second time, and she's walked twice in this game and almost gets hit by the ball, and Burke trots down to third, and the third baseman was playing way up thinking that Robinson was going to bunt, so she was not at third base to make a play, even if the catcher had gotten it there. So Dolphins have a runner on third. That's a wild pitch. And Robinson just gets the ball in front of the plate, and Freakley comes up and makes another nice play from the mound and gets the out.
Mary Burke scores, so it's now 5-0 Dolphins.
Yeah, and I was going to say that the Lady Knights ran off the field, and that's only the second out of the inning.
Right.
So it's a good thing some of us are keeping track up here in the booth, and Noah is just doing a phenomenal job on the tech side. So you at home were probably just as confused why everybody was running off the field, since you knew that was only the second out of the inning. And that brings up Sydney Larkin, the pitcher. And Sydney swings through that fastball for strike one. Sydney's 1 for 2 today. She's got a strikeout and a hit in this game. And she fouls one off the inside of her hands. And that ball just snuck through the netting. So Sydney's got quickly 2 strikes on her. Dolphins have already got a run in the inning. 2 outs. 5-0 in the bottom of the fourth. And there's that off-speed pitch. Almost looks like the... What was the pitch?
They used to call it the ephus pitch.
There it is, the ephus pitch.
The ephus pitch. Way up in the air.
Yeah. Sydney fouls that one back on the right side as well. Now, for those of you playing slow pitch softball, that's a meatball. You want to see that ball come in just like that, because it was actually kind of flat in slow pitch, but we're not playing slow pitch. This is for real. These are the fast pitches, and there's a beautiful pitch on the outside corner for strike 3. So Riki does know what she's doing there, and she gets Larkin to look for her second strikeout of the game. But the Dolphins do strike back with another run. So after 4 innings, we've got 5-0 Lady Dolphins over the Lady Knights from Peninsula Catholic. All right, so here we go. Top of the fifth. Lady Knights are going to send up number 21, the left fielder, Megan Schulte. Megan has struck out her first time up, and she swings and fouls one back for strike one here.
Over on the baseball field, Cape Henry leading 3-1, and they've got 2 runners on.
Schulte grounds that one, but foul on the right side for strike two. The men's lacrosse team are winning 7-4, and they're in the second there. One ball, 2 strikes on Schulte. That ball bounced for 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lady Knights got to put some runners on and start scoring some runs. They're down 5-0, and they're running actually out of innings. This is the 5th. We go 7 innings here, and Larkin just throws a beautiful pitch in there for strike 3. And so Schulte's down on her second strikeout this time looking. So we're back to the top of the order. Abby Lenzuski, the second baseman, is up. And she flares one over, and Sophie Berger makes
Nice
a
catch.
nice play. Berger tracked that ball right off the bat. Nice footwork, got back there and made an out. So brings up Scarlett Paitner, and she has grounded out and flied out in the first 2 times at bat. And she grounds one down, and that's actually a fair ball. And Berger makes that play there. So an easy 1-2-3 inning, and it's the Sophie Berger show. So 2 of the 3 outs by Berger, and that last one was an unassisted. For no runs. So Lady Dolphins, after 5.5, are up 5-0. And we'll take a short break while the 5th inning is commencing. So here we go. Bottom of the 5th. Marshall Daniel is up. She's singled and flied out to the center fielder, and she grounds a ball to the first baseman, who makes a nice play steps on first for the first out of the fifth inning. So 1 pitch, 1 out. That brings up the shortstop, Peyton DeValder. Peyton struck out and tripled her last time up, but got caught stealing home when she hesitated. And a nice play by Simmons to Freakley, pitcher. This time she squares the bunt and fouls it straight back for strike 1. DeValder is a very solid defensive shortstop. And she crushes the ball to left, and that is just foul. Peyton really hit that ball hard and was probably only about 15 feet from a home run, but it was just foul. Probably the longest softball hit this year that we've seen. She got everything into that, and that's another thing. When you have a pitcher that can throw hard, all you have to do is get that bat around, and that ball is going to go. In the majors, we call it exit velocity, and that ball had some on it. But it's just a long strike, and that's 2, and she takes inside for a ball. 1 out in the inning, 5-0 Dolphins over the Lady Knights. 5th inning, and there's a ball bounced for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sydney Murphy is on deck. Sophie Berger in the hole. This time she fouls it off, but just weakly to the home dugout. Might be a good time for that off-speed pitch here. We'll see. She does throw an off-speed pitch, but a nice play by the second baseman who comes in and gets that fly for the second out of the inning. So that brings up Sydney Murphy. Murphy reached on an error by the center fielder and then tripled her last time up. No runners on, 2 outs here in the 5th.
3 infielders? What am I missing?
And there's a ground ball to the third baseman. She bobbles it, and that's not going to have enough to get Sydney. So she gets on to first base. We'll give her an inside hit, and maybe that's what the coaches were talking about that last half. The Lady Knights are playing without a shortstop. And there's a ball that is in the dirt, but not past her, but Murphy steals anyway, so Sydney steals second. So the shortstop, Scarlett Paintner, who actually, she grounded out to Berger the last half inning. She might have hurt herself. Murphy's going to go to third. On a pass ball. So Sydney's in scoring position. 2 outs in the inning. And Sophie flies one up, but it's foul. So the shortstop for the Lady Knights grounded out to the first baseman and did not come out defensively, and they are down a person here. That's ball low. So Berger's got a 3-1 count. Malin Johnson is on deck. That ball is outside for ball 4. So Berger walks. Murphy standing on third, and that brings up Johnson. I gotta believe you let Johnson take a pitch here. and give Berger a time to get down to second. They're not going to throw it down. They haven't thrown it down once today, and certainly with a runner on third.
Right.
That's not going to be the play they're going to make. So, got to give Malin the take sign here and let Berger get down to second. And there it is. And she does, and she does. And that's exactly what the Dolphins do. And so Berger gets to second base on a steal, uncontested. Johnson takes a strike, and now she grounds weakly to first, and just gets
close.
called out. It was close. She was out. It was close, though. For the third out of the inning. So the Dolphins leave two stranded. And after 5, we've got a 5-0 game. So coming to the 6th inning, and I think the umpires are talking to each other here. And again, as mentioned, it's rare that an overturned or challenge would be called here. So it's interesting that the Lady Knights have a flex player, so they have another player in the dugout, but they decided to play that last half inning without a shortstop. Not like they only brought 9 players, but not quite sure what's going on with them, so we'll see if we get any word to help. But I count 10 players in the dugout from here, including the person that's up at bat. To no avail, doesn't matter. Here we go. 6th inning, and the pitcher, Quinn Freakley, will lead off, followed by her catcher, Casey Simmons. And then Logan Kaufman, the DH, will bat third in this inning. Here we go. And pitcher Freakley takes ball 1 outside. Quinn has doubled and flied out to Marshall Daniels, the center fielder, in her first 2 times at bat. She takes ball high. Second ball of her at bat. This is really the inning, Scott, where they have to score.
And you wonder if Sydney Larkin is starting to get tired. She's pitched a great game so far. Hopefully she can keep it going for 2 more innings.
Heart of the order for the Lady Knights, 3-4-5 hitter. And she does walk Freakley on 4 pitches. So the Lady Knights, down 5 in the 6th inning, get their leadoff batter on, and that brings up the catcher Simmons. And Larkin throws a strike there. Larkin throws a strike too. So Sydney's come back after walking the first batter on 4 pitches with 2 straight strikes to Simmons, the catcher. And Simmons flies the ball, and that's going to get over the second baseman's head. Daniel got a great jump on it. And Marshall ran up really quick, fielded it quickly, and that kept the runners at first and second. But that's still a base hit, so the Lady Knights now have runners on first and second with no outs here in the 6th inning. And that brings up Kaufman, the DH, number 10. And Logan grounded out to the third baseman and struck out looking her last time up. And she swings through that pitch for strike one. Nice play there by the catcher, Robertson.
So, Chris, I wonder with the Knights playing a player down, are they going to have to forfeit a spot in the batting order?
They will. If that and if that spot comes up and they don't fill it, yes, they will. But again, they have a player on the bench, so not quite sure how that's going to work. We'll see when we get down there. But she made the last out of the last inning, and there's 3 strikes there, and that's another stolen base. So you saw Freakley kind of delay and steal third, and then you just saw Simmons delay and steal second. So, but Larkin gets the out on a strikeout. So with 1 out, runners on second and third. That brings up the third baseman, Maggie Ford. Maggie struck out and doubled her last time up. And she takes strike 1 here. 2 runners on, 1 out, 5-0. And Robinson keeps the ball in front of her for a nice play there. I think that was called a ball. So 1 ball, 1 strike, yep. Again, Dolphins have plenty of runs, so the runners are really, they need outs now. They're 4 outs away from winning this game, so they need outs. That ball is high for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. I think if Robinson keeps the ball in front of her, there will be no stealing of home.
They're trying to get her to throw down to third. She won't do it. Yep. And as soon as I say that, she tries to throw down to third.
And lets it go. And the ball bounced down the third base line, but she quickly scooped it up, and Freakley, the runner on third, adeptly stayed. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 2 runners on. And there's a beautiful pitch on the outside corner for strike 3. So Ford strikes out looking for the second out of the inning, and that's going to bring up Casey Williams. Casey grounded out to Larkin, the pitcher, and struck out her last time up. So she's 0-2, or 0-4-2. 2 runners on, 2 outs, 5-0, and there's a nice pitch right down the middle for strike 1. Other rule here in ladies softball, if Robinson actually throws the ball back to Larkin inside the pitcher's circle, the runners cannot advance once the pitcher has control inside the circle. There's a foul ball.
So you just want to get that ball back to the pitcher as soon as you can.
Absolutely. The runner can certainly take off while the ball is in flight, but once the ball is secured in the pitcher's glove at inside that big circle that you see, there's no advancement. And they must retreat back to the base they were on. That's a ball in the dirt there. So Williams has got a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Two outs here in the 6th. 5-0 Lady Dolphins over the Lady Knights. And there's a nice pitch and strikeout for out number 3. So Larkin, after giving up the first 2 batters on base, strikes out the sides. So I guess she's not that tired.
No, apparently not.
And she's only got 3 outs to go to get a nice earned win here in Cape Henry Collegiate. And
Yeah, 3-0, 3-1. That's a single for Mary Burke. That's her second single of the game. Getting the Dolphins off to a good start here in the bottom of the sixth. The Dolphins lead this game 5-0. And second baseman Kate Dixon coming to the plate.
And there's where missing a shortstop hurts. And again, we're still not sure why the Lady Knights they've got two players in the dugout, and I guess both of them are ill or not feeling well. So next inning, it's a possibility that the shortstop would have come up. So Burke singles and then steals second. So the leadoff runner is at second now. Second baseman took that hard throw from the pitcher off her throwing hand. She's a lefty. She's trying to shake it off. There's a ground ball to the first baseman who bobbles it, and that's going to allow Dixon to get out. And then they throw it over the head of the second baseman to cover. Dixon's going to go to second, and that allows Burke to score. And Dixon overruns it. Now she's caught in a rundown, and she gets it past the third baseman, and she's going to score. And there is your Little League home run.
Kate is going to be so excited about that.
So let's recap that. That's an error on the first baseman, who then threw the ball over the second baseman's head for the second error, allowing Dixon to go to second. Dixon got caught between second and third, and the pitcher threw the ball over the third baseman's head, allowing Dixon to go to third and eventually score. So Kate went all the way around the bases on an error. Happy birthday.
Let's call it a home run.
We'll call it a home run. That is a home field home run right
there. There you go.
And again, down a person. You don't
right.
have that shortstop, and that's why Dixon ran in the first place, because there was nobody covering second base. Everybody was occupied, and so it gave Kate kind of free rein to run around second and take that wide turn. And once she did, the pitcher realized she was caught in no man's land, and quite honestly, if the pitcher makes a decent throw to the third baseman, Dixon is out by a mile. But it didn't happen. What did happen is Kate got a chance to run the bases during a real game, and the Dolphins have just put two up on the board for a 7-0 lead, and there's still no outs in the sixth inning. And here comes Robertson, the catcher, with the bases cleared and up 7. And she takes low ball 1. And for the most part, the Knights have been playing decent
they have.
Defense.
Yep.
Their second baseman has made a couple of nice plays, their first baseman, so this was not the time for the defense to kind of fall down here.
They've played good defense, and to be honest, this is a very good hitting Dolphin team, and they've not really squared too many balls up against this pitcher either. Fortunately for the Dolphins, Larkin's been on her game and has shut out the Knights so far.
Absolutely. Probably the hardest ball that was hit all day was the foul ball that Davalda hit. And there's 4 straight balls for a walk to Robertson. So she's on. And that'll bring up Larkin, the pitcher. Sid's having an okay day. She's got a base hit, but 2 strikeouts, 1 looking and 1 swinging. And so now with a runner on and nobody out, we'll see what she can do here. She squares the bunt, pulls it back, ball's in the dirt, but plenty enough time for Robinson to steal second. Squares to bunt. This time she does offer, but misses for strike 1. 1-1. Runner on second. No outs here in the 6th. Dolphins up 7-zip over the Lady Knights from Peninsula. Squares again. This time she does get it on the bat, but not enough. The ball goes behind for a foul ball. So Sydney's got 2 strikes on her now. If she bunts and misses or bunts and fouls it, it'll be strike 3. So she'll probably have the green light to swing away on anything close. And she does, and skies one up, and the first baseman turns the wrong way, and that ball actually hit the chalk, but the home plate umpire calls it foul.
You can see the chalk. That's a fair ball.
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
I thought we saw a little bit of white come up with that black, or I should say the brown. But any event, it's a foul ball. We go back to where we were with runner on second. And Larkin this time does hit the ball to the right fielder, who does not make the play. That's going to get Larkin to second, and Robinson was running all the way. So she scores easily from second base for the Dolphins' 3rd run of the inning. And that's going to be a double since the right fielder never put a glove on it. That's going to be a double for Sydney. And that brings up Marshall Daniel, the center fielder, with no outs and 3 runs in already.
And Chris, at some point the mercy rule comes into play. What is the mercy rule exactly?
10.
Okay, 10-run lead. Okay.
Dolphins get 2 more runs, and Lady Knights will not get a chance to bat in the 7th. And again, you've got the 3, 4, and 5 hitter up for the Dolphins, and they've done some damage in this game. I think the Dolphins are working on their bunting in this
Yes.
game, which is probably a good idea. That is certainly something that every team should work on, and especially when you get the chance to work on it in an actual live game. So Marshall's up with 2 strikes on her. She swings and misses through that one for strike 3. So good pitch there by Freakley to get Marshall on a strikeout. Leaves Larkin at second, and that brings up Peyton Davalda. And Davalda, after hitting a rocket but foul, flied out to the second baseman. She comes up with runner on second and 1 out in this inning. She takes ball 1, and it's in the dirt and past the catcher for a wild pitch, and that allows Larkin to go to third. Three runs in, 1 out, runner on third. 8-0 Dolphins here in the 6th. And this time she does hit the ball and right past the first baseman. So Peyton did hit the ball hard. And she gets a base hit, and that drives in Larkin for the 4th run of the inning, and 9-0 now. And that brings up Sydney Murphy. Murphy has been on base every time she's been up. So the Dolphins are 1 run away from winning this game. Murphy reached on an error, tripled, singled. So Sydney's 2 for 3 so far in this game. Got to believe Davalda is probably going to try to steal second on any ball that is not put either in play or touched, and there it is, and she does not go. 2 strikes on Murph. And she lines it up. And, oh, a
Nice
nice catch by
catch.
the second baseman.
Well done.
Almost gets the double play. So nice play there by the second baseman. For the second out of the inning. And that brings up the senior, Sophie Berger, with a runner on first and 9 runs on the book.
Sophie's had a big day. A few nice plays at first, a triple, a walk. Let's see if she can end the game here.
There's a ball to the second baseman again, and this time, oh. Okay, so we'll unpack this as time is called. So, ground ball to the first baseman, and she doesn't make the play. Berger runs it out, but Berger turned towards second base, so she becomes a fair runner and was almost tagged out at first. But the field umpire called her safe, looked out to us. In the meantime, the Valder runs all the way from first over to third, so she's standing at third. Berger's reached on an error by the first baseman, so we have runners on first and third, 2 outs. And it looks like the Dolphins are going to the dugout to make a change. Due up now is Malin Johnson. And she's not going to hit, and instead, I believe it's number 6. And so that's going to be or 7. Oh.
And there goes Peyton.
There's
your ball game.
The ball game's over. And so the Dolphins on a steal allow the runner at third to score, and that's the ball game. And so it's number 6. I don't have her on my scorecard.
It might be Ava Ehrenzeller. It's hard to see from here. I think she wanted that at bat.
11.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she came in the game.
Yeah.
That's not a number 6 unless she's wearing
yeah,
the
that's
same number.
Got a text from behind the bench. They said that was Ava. But regardless, it's a win for the Dolphins, 10-0.
So Davalda scores on a throw down to second base, trying to get Sophie Berger stealing. And that's going to do it for the Dolphins. They put a 5 spot up on the board here in the 6th inning to win this game 10-0. Good win for the Dolphins. Good win to get them into the TCIS, and the Lady Dolphins are excited.
They should be. They had a great season, 10-0 victory, and they're heading into TCIS play now on a roll. Good for them.
So, wish the Lady Knights a safe trip home to Peninsula Catholic. Thanks for coming out tonight and playing here at the 757, and have a good night. Hope their shortstop is in good shape and she's okay. And again, thank you for coming out tonight. Have a safe trip home. And for the Lady Dolphins, congratulations, and we'll see you next week in the TCIS playoffs. Scott, it's been a pleasure. Thanks.
It's time. Good win for the Dolphins.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, guys. Sign off and have a wonderful Thursday and enjoy your Friday. Cinco de Mayo tomorrow. Take care.